Hello, fellow streamers. In tonight's episode of Let's Talk Streaming, I will be talking about mastering stream scene composition, insight, and post-production evaluation. So, welcome to Streaming Zero to Hero, a channel which focuses on my own journey from a beginner zero streamer to a hero streamer, basically becoming established and successful. And I've been streaming every day for the past 8 days now. So during the past week of actually getting started streaming regularly, my thinking about stream scene composition and especially post-production, where we go and we actually take the recordings from the stream and actually work with it so that we can upload it to YouTube, TikTok, and so on, has actually evolved and changed quite drastically. So I wanted to share my thoughts with you and my thinking, so you can kind of tag along in the mental process, which is for me going from, let's say, knowing nothing about streaming, starting as a beginner, and how my thinking evolves over time. So let's have a look at my stream composition here in OBS. I actually took a screenshot of it so that you wouldn't need to get that nasty visual infinite feedback loop. So what we're looking at here is just a capture of OBS, and this is just taking on my auxiliary monitor, which is set up in the vertical way. And I won't go so much into details about the plugins I used for this, but we can see here in the middle screen, this used to be my normal only scene composition. I've since added a vertical one, which you see here. And the reason why I went that way, I will get to in a moment. But my thinking when I started streaming was I wanted this type of composition. The main type of content I do is desktop recordings and how-tos primarily. So I wanted, the classical, show the desktop, show the webcam so you can build that connection with me as an individual rather than just seeing a desktop. It also becomes a little bit more animated or like more engaging because you can see my facial expressions and as I talk and so on, right? And what I did was that I wanted to have OBS save and output the desktop as a specific source file and the web camera as a specific source file, because this allowed me to have maximum post-production control because I've saved this video separately. And I believe the first video I actually streamed and they were on the same layer and becoming one, let's say, video frame, so that it was a nightmare just trying to move my webcam around. Just took way too much time. So then the next step was, okay, so I wanted to record this or save this separately, which I did for a long time. But as I've been streaming daily, as I've been doing this post-production daily, I realized that I was redoing in post-production editing a lot of the same steps every time, which of course takes time. And the longer you stream, the more potential for, cuts and stuff and whatever you can do to not having to do repeated same step. If it's more, let's say, mechanical in nature, this time you can spend either in pre-production thinking about content ideas and so on, but also post-production editing so that it becomes more valuable to the viewer. And one challenge I had going with this format again, which is the, let's say, 16:9 normal 1080p YouTube format, was for sites like Instagram and TikTok and anything where you have this vertical phone, also YouTube Shorts. I just couldn't get it to look right. And I found that even though I could fix it in post-production, it took time. And I turned up, I kind of not want to fiddle with it. Instead, I took the easy way of just making it not so true vertical like you see here on the right. And instead just kind of squeezing it, which again is not what a user really expects if they are watching YouTube Shorts or TikTok. They expect the normal vertical one. So I had to think about it and realized that I needed to change my thinking about the scene composition. And I came up with, when I actually stumbled upon it, that there is a OBS plugin. I will cover this, exactly how I have this OBS set up in an upcoming stream or video. And I realized that there's a way where you can set up and specify a vertical scene, which I have here on the right. And what's also cool about this is I can still output, let's say, the web camera as its own scene, the desktop as its own scene, but I can also output the total scene composition, which for this here box in the right is this scene over here, which I call 16:9 horizontal main. And then I don't see it because it's good share. No, here I actually have it. So it's 19. So it's not 16:9 because it's 9:16 because it's vertical and vertical main. And these two I can also output as their specific source file. Why this matter is it saves on post-production because I can actually save a file where the things are where I want them to be straight away. So I don't have to move it around or reshape. And in this way, I get more file outputs, more disk volume usage. But yeah, all things considered, nowadays storage is kind of cheap back on how it were before. And back in the day, since I'm not a teen anymore. And what I get is by the same effort of just doing the stream, I automatically get one version which is suitable for, let's say, normal YouTube format or other such sites. And I also get one for specified for TikTok or Instagram or YouTube Short, anything with a vertical format. So, and it didn't take me any extra effort. It just needs more hard drive disk space, right? So then I can start to do some post-production still with this. I'm still figuring out how to do some other steps, which I'm doing more manually now. One is speech to text, so I can get those caption and transcriptions going. And or also the actual caption, which you see underneath here. So I can, of course, do this in post-production, but the big mindset shifts for me was that all of these post-production steps, which I do for every video, from the mechanical standpoint, example, desktop versus camera, is it horizontal versus vertical, speech to text so I can get the caption, showing the caption. These are mechanical steps that I will repeat and do for all videos and all streams. So if I can automate them, it just makes the entire production flow, let's say, of streaming or recording video so much easier because I get the output format already ready. So moving forward, what I would be looking into on how to automate is actually and I'm not sure if you actually see it now. Interesting. I thought I turned it off. So what you see now is I'm trying with the caption. Let me actually, sorry for the infinite feedback loop here. You see this caption here. Thought I'd disable that so it wouldn't be shown because it's something I'm trying out. Because that's the next step. I want to be able to automatically have a saved output caption file, which is accurate, so that I don't have to do these steps. Because then for most of these, if it's short streams or whatnot, maybe I don't have to go into post editing at all. I can just grab it, maybe a pre-production made a like thumbnail or splash intro image, and then I can just go on stream, do my thing, then upload it straight away without the need of actually doing post-production. Maybe post-production only to cut out, let's say, silence or dead space or make it flow a little bit better. But these are how my mindset have evolved just after 1 week of streaming daily and getting into it and kind of learning by experience and trying things out, taking that, which I keep saying so very often, that it's small steps every day. Try to improve something small every time, and eventually you're going to grow over time and find out what works for you versus just trying to figure everything out in the beginning and having all of this research phase getting into it where you could be streaming. So I'll leave it at that. If you have questions about this, feel free to comment in the chat, or when you see this video, wherever you see it, just comment in the comments about your question. What did you like? What don't you like? Do you have a question about OBS, how I set this up? Just write it in the comments and even share it with someone you know who is looking to get into streaming. And I will catch you in the next video.